Hey everyone, my name is Xenia and I'm your VP of Silicon Valley of California DECA. I'm super excited to share some of California DECA's best competitive tips with you guys, starting with this guide to doing a DECA roleplay. A DECA roleplay consists of you as a business professional presenting a presentation or solving a problem that your scenario poses. You are given your prompt during a preparation period, then tasked to present your solution or analysis to a judge during the presentation period. And the times allocated for these periods differ by event, and you can see them to the right. When you walk into your roleplay room, you'll be first directed to sit on these rows of chairs to wait for your turn to prep. Then you'll be guided to your prep area, where you'll have your roleplay taped to the table, blank pieces of paper, and pencils and pens. Your event coordinator will notify you when to start, as well as provide time signals during the period, normally at 5 minutes and 2 minutes. The first step towards successfully doing a DECA roleplay is figuring out how to properly read what's given to you. I'm going to use a principles of marketing as a sample. You'll have different numbers of performance indicators depending on what your event is, but the general gist is the same. Generally, I recommend reading your event situation first, and this will tell you your role, your judge's role, any background information, as well as the task that you are going to accomplish. Since you cannot bring your scenario into your presentation room, you'll have to write down any notes you need onto the sheets. So for example, in this scenario, I am a salesperson at Johnson Brothers Motors, a local automobile dealership. My judge is a new salesperson, and my task is to explain some basic safety and security precautions. So these are all things that I will be explaining in my roleplay, and these are all things that I want to write down on my prep sheet. Then, while the scenario is fresh in my mind, I'll examine the performance indicators on the first page. The performance indicators are arguably some of the most important parts of your presentation, as this is what your judge judges you on. I love to use these performance indicators as sort of an outline for what I should talk about and integrate while I complete my task. I'll write my performance indicators down and spaced out on my paper so I can write notes in between to refer to during my roleplay. I find it really helpful to use this acronym DECA, which stands for Definition, Explanation, Connect, and Above and Beyond. Make sure to remember to integrate your performance indicators into your scenario, and don't forget that although you have your indicators, you need to give your solution and complete the task that's given to you. As a general rule of thumb, ISEs and TDMs have a more well-rounded scenario and a lot more explanations and concepts needed than principles, so definitely make sure that you're presenting a very complete kind of solution during your roleplay. Then I use my remaining time to make prompts and review my notes in order to prepare for my presentation. After your time is called, your coordinator will then lead you to your judge. First, you want to shake hands with your judge and state your name, your role, and a greeting. For example, I'll say something like, "Hi, my name is Enya and I'm a salesperson at Johnson Brothers Motors. Nice to meet you." This is just a way to leave a very solid first impression. Then, after you sit down, give a brief introduction involving what the scenario is about to set up your presentation. Normally I'll be pretty brief and just kind of summarize the task I'm given and the indicators, but I know a lot of students goes with hooks or other methods, so it's really whatever suits you and your situation best. Afterwards, you'll move on to presenting the content of your presentation, maybe integrating some graphics or charts you've made, or connecting to some real-world examples. Referring on your notes is helpful, but make sure not to overly rely on them because you do want to maintain professional eye contact. A tip with answering questions after your presentation is to always provide a lead-in and ask for questions yourself. This avoids that awkward pause where your judge is trying to figure out if you're ending your presentation or if they should ask questions or not. Typically, there are going to be 2 to 3 questions depending on your event and scenario, but they may differ sometime depending on your judge. Then, after answering questions, I include a really small conclusion. This is totally based on personal preference since you can just end after the questions, but I always find it really helpful to just solidify my conclusion and really leave a strong lasting impression, where I kind of summarize what I've talked about in my roleplay and also make some fun things. For example, I'd ask the judge, do you want to have a follow-up meeting next week, or hand them a business card? Anything like that is always really, really fun. One thing to note, make sure you shake hands with your judge after the presentation too. So you should be shaking hands with your judge during 2 times, one time before and one time after. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope this was a helpful introduction to DECA roleplaying. Watching a sample roleplay would be really helpful, and you can find some great samples at the link in the description below. Make sure to follow California DECA on Facebook and Instagram for more competitive resources this week, and you can always reach out to me or a fellow state officer if you have any questions. Thank you again. See you guys next time.